Hello and welcome to another teaching from 119 Ministries. Our ministry believes that the whole Bible is true and applicable to our lives today. If you'd like to learn more about what we believe and teach, please visit us at testeverything.net. We hope that you enjoy studying and testing the following teaching. Jewish counter-missionaries often argue that the Messiah must have a human father, claiming that Yeshua's divine conception disqualifies him as the Messiah. However, this argument misunderstands the scriptures, particularly the Torah, which actually suggests the opposite. Let's examine this claim in light of biblical evidence. In the Torah, Yahweh says this to the serpent, Genesis chapter 3, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock, and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." This passage makes a very surprising reference to not the seed of a man, but the seed of a woman. Targum Pseudo-Jonathan understands this account in Genesis 3 in this way. "And it shall be that when the sons of the woman study the Torah diligently and obey its injunctions, they will direct themselves to smite you on the head and slay you. But when the sons of the woman forsake the commandments of the Torah and do not obey its injunctions, you will direct yourself to bite them on the heel and afflict them. However, there will be a remedy for the sons of the woman. But for you, serpent, there will be no remedy. They shall make peace with one another in the end, in the very end of days, in the days of the King Messiah." This interpretation of Genesis 3:15 as a messianic prophecy has deep roots even within Jewish rabbinical thought. This verse, often referred to as the Proto-Evangelium, first gospel, describes enmity between the serpent and the woman, and between their respective seeds, culminating in the ultimate victory of the woman's seed. Interestingly, Jewish rabbinical literature provides significant insights to this passage. The Targums on Genesis 3:15. The Targums, ancient Aramaic paraphrases of the Hebrew scriptures, offer a nuanced view. They interpret the seed of the woman as Torah-observant Israel, those who faithfully study and obey Yahweh's instructions. The Targums connect this obedience to the era of the King Messiah, suggesting that Torah faithfulness leads to peace and harmony under the Messianic reign. This interpretation demonstrates that the rabbinic tradition understood a connection between the seed of the woman and the coming of the Messiah, associating Torah observance with the Messianic hope. The Midrash Rabbah, a collection of Jewish commentary on the Torah, explicitly ties the seed of the woman to the Messiah. Referring to Genesis 4:25 and the naming of Seth, it states, "And she called his name Seth, for God has appointed me another seed," etc. Ra Tanhuma said in the name of Samuel Kozith, she hinted at the seed which would arise from another source, namely the King Messiah. Here, the seed which would arise from another source unmistakably points back to Genesis 3 verse 15. Identifying the Messiah as the promised seed of the woman. This brings us to Matthew chapter 1 verse 23. "Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel," which is pointing to the prophecy in Isaiah chapter 7. "Therefore Yahweh himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." Although we have seen rabbinical support for interpreting the prophecy in Genesis 3 as messianic in nature, and further support indicating that Genesis 3 reveals the Messiah would come from the seed of a woman rather than a man, counter-missionaries challenge the idea that this verse in Isaiah refers to a virgin birth. This challenge aims to undermine the credibility of Matthew chapter 1 verse 23. The truth is that the evidence is overwhelming that this verse is a messianic prophecy and does in fact refer to a virgin birth of the Messiah. This can be shown in 3 ways. Number 1, the first is the meaning of the Hebrew word Alma and why it should be used here. The second is the reading of the other ancient versions of Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. And the third is the overall context of this passage. Now, great controversy surrounds this Hebrew word Alma in Isaiah 7:14. It has been suggested that the Hebrew word Alma simply means young woman, and that if Isaiah had intended to refer to a virgin, he would have used the Hebrew word Betula. So the question arises, what is an Alma? What is a Betula? And why would Isaiah use the word Alma rather than Betula if it were to be a virgin birth? The word Alma refers to a young unmarried woman, one of whose characteristics is virginity. There is no instance where the word Alma is used to refer to a non-virgin. Compare Genesis 24:43 with 24:16 where Betula appears. In fact, the Hebrew Publishing Company translation of 1916 translates Alma as virgin in Genesis 24:43 and in Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 3 and chapter 6, verse 8. Moreover, an ancient Ugaritic tablet was discovered which uses Alma as a synonymous parallel to the cognate of Betula. For this reason, one of the world's leading Semitists, the late Dr. Cyrus Gordon, who was Jewish and did not believe in the virgin birth of Yeshua, maintains that Isaiah 7:14 may be translated as virgin. Now, it has been proposed that Isaiah 7:14 refers to a birth by a young woman rather than a virgin. In order to understand how this passage was understood anciently, we should look at other ancient versions of the book of Isaiah. Here's how the Aramaic Peshitta Tanakh has it. Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin, Betula, shall conceive and bear a son, and call his name Emmanuel. The Aramaic word Betula clearly means virgin and not simply young lady. Now let's look at the Greek Septuagint reading, Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and call his name Emmanuel. The Greek Parthenos means virgin and not simply young lady. Thus, both the ancient Aramaic and ancient Greek versions of Isaiah 7:14 understand Alma here to refer to a virgin. Finally, we want to examine the context of Isaiah 7:14. First, let's examine the immediate context of Isaiah 7, and then the broader context of this whole section of Isaiah. Literal translation of Hebrew of Isaiah 7:14. Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you, plural, a sign. Behold, the Alma will conceive and bear a son, and she will call his name Emmanuel. You, in verse 14, is plural. By contrast, King Ahaz is singular you in verses 11 and 16 through 17. In verses 16 through 17, the sign to Ahaz was that before a child should know how to choose good from bad, the siege would end. That child was not the newborn child of verse 14. The child is Isaiah's son, Sha'ar-Yashuv, from Isaiah 7, verse 3. The prophecy of Isaiah 7:14 is not addressed only to Ahaz, as is the rest of the prophecy. How do we know this? The following literal translation clears things up. Pay particular attention to what is singular and what is plural. 7:3a. Then Yahweh said to Isaiah, Go out now to meet Ahaz, you, singular, and Sha'ar-Yashuv, your son, also singular. Verse 10. Yahweh spoke again to Ahaz, saying, Ask a sign for yourself from Yahweh your God. Both of these cases, those are singular. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, nor will I test Yahweh. Then he said, Hear now, O house of David, is it a small thing for you, plural, to weary men, but will you, plural, weary my God also? Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you, plural, a sign. Behold, the Alma will conceive and bear a son, and she will call his name Emmanuel. Curds and honey he shall eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For behold, before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that you, singular, dread will be forsaken by both her kings. Yahweh will bring the king of Assyria upon you, singular, and your people, singular, and your father's house, singular. Notice the clear distinction to what is addressed to you, plural, and what is addressed to you, singular, or Akaz, and how this creates a distinction between the newborn in verse 14 and the child in verse 16. Thus, the birth in Isaiah 7:14 is not a sign to Akaz alone. Isaiah chapter 8 through 9, also speaks of this same Emmanuel figure. Thus, it is clear that the Emmanuel of Isaiah 7:14 and chapter 8, verse 8, is also the child born in Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 through 7. Now, the New Testament clearly applies these passages to Messiah Yeshua. Revelation 21, verse 3 alludes to Isaiah chapter 7:14 and chapter 8, verse 8. 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 14 through 15 cites Isaiah chapter 8, 12 through 13 in regards to the Messiah. Romans chapter 9, verse 32 and 1 Peter chapter 2 apply Isaiah chapter 8, verse 14 to the Messiah. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 13 applies Isaiah chapter 8, verses 17 through 18 to the Messiah. Finally, Matthew chapter 4, verses 15 through 16 and Luke chapter 1, verse 79 apply Isaiah chapter 8, verses 23 to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 1 to the Messiah. Moreover, the Talmud applies Isaiah chapter 8, verse 14 to the Messiah. Judah and Hezekiah, the sons of Rabbi Haya, once sat at a table with Rabbi and uttered not a word. Whereupon he said, "Give the young men plenty of strong wine, so that they may say something." When the wine took effect, they began by saying, "The son of David cannot appear ere the two ruling houses in Israel shall have come to an end, namely the Exilarchate in Babylon and the Patriarchate in Palestine. For it is written, For he shall be for a sanctuary, for a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both houses of Israel." Thereupon he, Rabbi, exclaimed, "You throw thorns in my eyes, my children." At this, Rabbi Haya, his disciple, remarked, "Master, be not angered, for the numerical value of the letters of Yain is 70, and likewise the letters of Sod. When Yain, wine, goes in, Sod, secrets come out." Moreover, Targum Jonathan on Isaiah applies Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 through 7 to the Messiah as well. The prophet said to the house of David, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and he has taken the law upon himself to keep it. His name is called from before him who is wonderful in counsel, the mighty God who liveth to eternity. The Messiah whose peace shall be great upon us in his days. The greatness of those who do the law shall be magnified, and to those that preserve peace. There shall be no end to the throne of David and of his kingdom, to establish it and to build it in judgment and in righteousness from henceforth, even forever. By the word of the Lord of hosts this shall be done." Finally, the figure in Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 through 7 certainly seems to be the same as that in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1. Isaiah 11:1. "There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit." This is important because everyone agrees that Isaiah 11:1 refers to the Messiah. Both passages reaffirm the messianic fulfillment of God's covenant with David. Isaiah 9:7 directly mentions the throne of David, while Isaiah 11:1 portrays the Messiah as the continuation of David's line. Thus, by examining the overall context of Isaiah 7:14, it becomes clear that Isaiah 7:14 is a messianic prophecy which prophesies of the virgin birth of the Messiah. Conclusion. The argument against Yeshua's messianic qualification due to his divine conception overlooks the profound theological depth within the scriptures, particularly the Torah and prophetic writings. Genesis 3:15 sets the foundation for a messianic expectation rooted in the seed of a woman. pointing to a miraculous birth, untainted by human intervention. Jewish rabbinical tradition, including the Targums and Midrash, aligns with this interpretation, recognizing the connection between the woman's seed and the coming of the Messiah. The evidence from Isaiah 7:14, reinforced by the linguistic analysis of Alma and its translation in ancient versions, strengthens the case for the virgin birth. The broader context of Isaiah, further supported by the New Testament application and rabbinical commentary, unmistakably identifies this prophecy with the Messiah, Yeshua. Rather than disqualifying Yeshua, his divine conception fulfills a foundational messianic prophecy. This unique genealogy underscores the Messiah's dual nature, fully human, born of a woman, and fully divine, conceived by the Spirit of God. Thus, the virgin birth is not a disqualifier, but a divine affirmation of Yeshua's identity as the promised Redeemer, fulfilling both Torah and prophetic scriptures. We pray that you've been blessed by this teaching, and remember, continue to test everything. Shalom.
OneNineteen Ministries has produced hundreds of biblical teachings, and now you can own all of them on one physical device. We're excited to announce that our entire video library in HD quality is now available on a flash drive. This drive can be plugged into your PC, phone, tablet, or anything else with a USB or USB-C port. The drive also contains written transcripts of our teachings for those who prefer to read rather than watch. Of course, we still offer all of our material for free at testeverything.net, but having a physical copy will allow you to watch our videos anywhere and anytime without the need for an internet connection. Having a physical copy will also ensure that our teachings are available if we are ever removed from video websites, which is a danger that ministries around the world are facing more and more. We want to continue to reach as many people as possible. Now, you might be asking, but what about all the new teachings released every week? Well, in addition to receiving all our past teachings, your purchase comes with free updates for life. Each flash drive comes with instructions that will allow you to easily download and store new teachings as they are released. Or mail us in the flash drive once a year, and we will update it for you and send it back at no charge to you. We hope you are blessed by this new resource. And as always, any proceeds our ministry receives goes right back into producing more teachings. Get your OneNineteen flash drive today by going to one19flashDrive.com.
It is because of you, our generous supporters, who make it possible to offer these high-quality teachings completely free of charge. If you feel led to support OneNineteen Ministries so that we can continue this effort, please visit testeverything.net and click on the Support OneNineteen tab. Learn how you can partner with us to take the whole Word of God to the nations.